right, let's talk about the fight this weekend. And I don't know how interested you are in this. You probably just want it all to end already. But whether you want it to be or not, you are all of a sudden a part of the madness. So I'm not sure if you know how gambling works, but you could bet the fight. If you want Floyd, you bet about $5. You bet about $5 or $6 to win $1. If you want Conor, you get like $4 for every dollar you risk. But in an event of this magnitude, they offer what's called prop bets. And you, Nate Diaz, are part of a prop bet. This is a real prop bet on Bovada.com. Will Nate Diaz walk out with Floyd Mayweather to the ring? No is minus 160. Nate, you could tell me now, and we can make literally hundreds of dollars before they take the prop down. Will you walk out with Floyd Mayweather?
You could bet on that, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy that you can bet on that. They should call me.
Isn't that stupid? Yeah, you seem, you have a lot of control over that, and you won't even have to lift a finger.
That is crazy.
Is that something you're not willing to divulge, huh?
Hey, I'm not going to jinx no bets, but time will tell. We'll see what happens.
All right. You may, because I could say, we could just hang out here and watch the fight, and then we could collect on the no, or maybe maybe we say yes, and you accidentally wander down the aisle with Floyd. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe call me off the air and we'll get this figured out.
Okay, I think that's the way to do it. You're smarter than I am. I think you figured it out. All right, spell it out for us, Nate. You fought Conor twice. You spent a lot of time on your feet with him. Does he have a chance, or is this all a farce?
Of course, he has a chance. This is a fight game. You always have a chance in a fight, and I believe there's a lot of ignorance going on in the boxing community. Everybody's dissing Conor and saying he doesn't have a chance and this and that, and they're over talking saying stuff like they all think they could beat him once he fight Mayweather, and I think he has a great chance.
Really?
And,
all right.
And I spar with top pros in the fight game, the best pros in the world, and we've done better than a lot of them. And I fought Conor for 25 minutes. I believe that he's definitely gonna have a chance fighting and beating the best boxer pound for pound in the world right now. That's another story. But I fight the fight, and we have to watch and see what happens. And hopefully for a hell of a fight.
So he's got a decent chance. It's funny. Both sides feel the other is being disrespectful. The boxing purists say, how could this MMA star come in and think he's going to beat the best, like you said, pound-for-pound fighter in his weight class?
Yeah, well, it's crazy because I'm not on the MMA side. I'll tell you I'm not on Floyd's side, not on Conor's side, but I'll tell you whose side I'm definitely not on. It's definitely not UFC side. You know what I'm saying? And the boxers, every fucking pro boxer wants some say in something, and they have all this criticism. And I think it's a better opinion. A better option is keep your opinion out of it, and not because what happens when Conor wins? Let's say he wins, and all that shit, all these fucking boxers talk are sitting there like, oh, we thought you knew, but you actually don't know shit, because they say stuff like he doesn't stand a chance. Yeah, but they should know, just being fighters, that if in a fight everybody stands a chance, and if you're saying that there's no chance, I think that's a big problem. And the ignorance is crazy, because no one actually knows except for a fighter like me or my brother who's sparred with that high level pro. Because I know if I went into a fight like that, I'd be collecting like, don't ever count me out, because watch me win this shit. So I believe that.
Right.
I believe that he's got, just the more people talking like that gives him more of a chance of doing well and more motivation. So that makes things more entertaining, more interesting, and if people start looking at the fight like that, they're in for a better night, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Like, people are fueling the fire. The more naysayers there are, that Floyd Conor is going to feed off of that, because
the more people don't want it, the more people say they don't have a chance, is the more fearless you get about this whole situation, and the more confident you're like, yeah, you think so, huh, motherfuckers? Watch me take over this whole shit.
Right.
And that's a possibility, and that should be in the gamble itself.
Yeah, you're right. If it went the other way, I think Floyd would get killed if he went into the octagon. Like, I think he literally would die in the octagon against you or Conor. But it's a little different when you're standing toe to toe.
Now we're participating in the sport, but what people don't realize is I hear a lot of boxers too. They'll say to me too, we stay in our lane. I'm like, what you don't understand is, speaking for myself, is boxing is my lane. I've just been stuck in MMA this whole career because the money was there, the contracts were there, and I was stuck in MMA. But the way I train for these fights is just like a boxer trains for a boxing match. Only I add the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling and the kickboxing, so there's a lot more work. So now we're dealing with just one aspect. So even he said that it's going to be less work, and we're on one discipline. And I always said to all my partners and all my people, I said, if I only had to do one thing, if I only had to do jiu-jitsu or only had to do boxing, I'd be the best boxer in the world. I'd be the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world. I have to worry about all this shit. I'm the top. Most likely, I'm the best. I just beat the pound-for-pound best fucking MMA fighter in the world, who's supposedly not on steroids. And so I'm already number one in that sport. If I just had to worry about one thing, I think I would own that one too. And now we got Conor doing it.
Yeah.
So we got the number 2 guy fighting for the number 1 position in boxing. And I think it's possible. And everybody count him out as tripping. And he's still fighting the best in the world, though. So we have a fight on our hands.
Yeah, you said something interesting there, and I caught it. Best fighter not on steroids. Of course, John Jones tested positive, or the news came out yesterday that he tested positive for the Cormier fight. Does that surprise you at all?
No, I believe that. Like I said before, and I stick to it, I believe that everybody's on steroids the whole game. Because me and my brother went on steroids, and it's a serious thing, and I don't think that's ever going to end. So, what's surprising to me is everybody being surprised when someone gets busted for steroids, especially someone who's already been busted. You know what I'm saying? These guys knows how to pass these tests. Somehow John didn't get caught with his test, but I don't know why, because they all know how to pass the test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't know how to pass the test. I hear about it. The fight game tells me everything I know on the inside, and they don't know how to pass the test. I don't know what happened with him. So
yeah,
but it shouldn't be surprising when people get busted for steroids. It's like, another one bites the dust.
Right.
Back to the daily grind. The channel's getting false flagged by triggered trolls, so make sure you subscribe to the new channel. Let's get to the MMA news. It's Maymac Eve, and Nate Diaz has spoken. Nate Diaz is likely to be Conor McGregor's next opponent in MMA when he returns, but he spoke with Uncle Sal or Cousin Sal on the Against All Odds podcast, and he had a lot to say. I suggest you go check out the entire podcast. I just had a little snippet here. He was talking about how Conor McGregor definitely has a chance to beat Floyd Mayweather, and it was interesting. They were talking about how there's a prop bet on if Nate Diaz is going to walk Floyd Mayweather out to the ring. And, like, there's a bet on it. And they were like, well, Nate Diaz, you could tell us, are you? He was like, I'll keep that a secret. It's like, what the hell, are you in on it? Like, that kind of ruins that whole bet. It kind of blows my mind that there's a bet. Like, where is Nate Diaz going to walk out? I'm sure all of his friends know. Like, can his friends bet on that? Like, whoever trains with him, his MMA friends, like the Rat Pack, Gilbert Melendez and all them, I'm sure they know if Nate Diaz is going to be walking out with Floyd. So, if I were them, I advise them to go make that bet, since that's a real bet. I mean, I haven't seen it, but they said it was, and this was like a betting podcast. They said it was on Bovada.com. So, hey, if you can fucking get a hold of one of Nate Diaz's friends, ask him if he's walking out to the ring. You got a chance to make some money. With that being said, though, he said Conor McGregor definitely has a chance to beat Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't understand how anybody that's a fighter could say he doesn't have a chance. And he said, if I was going in there, I know I would be feeling like I can win. I'm in MMA because I had to be, but boxing's really my sport. That's interesting. He said that. He said he would have rather boxed, but MMA was where the opportunity was. And if you know anything about the Diaz brothers, you know that's why they got into fighting, for the opportunity. They started training because the and the coach told him, if you come train, I'll feed you lunch. You know what I'm saying? So Nate Diaz got lunch to start training jiu-jitsu. Therefore, that's why he started MMA. But if he had the opportunity, to choose his sport, he would have probably been a boxer. That's what he favors. So he feels like, that's what I've been explaining too. People think MMA fighters are coming to a whole new sport when they go to boxing, but some MMA fighters have a boxing base. Not all MMA fighters are pure or come from wrestling or come from jiu-jitsu. Some MMA fighters are strikers. So even more than that, some of them are just come from boxing. Like Holly Holm, she's transitioned to an MMA fighter. I don't think Holly Holm would transition back terribly to boxing. She was a boxing champion. Are you telling me Holly Holm, just because she's a good MMA fighter now, couldn't win boxing matches? If Holly Holm went to fight the women's boxing champion of today, would anybody laugh at Holly Holm? I mean, it's a little different because she has some professional boxing matches, but there's other MMA fighters who have professional boxing background, is what I'm saying. So it's not always the same. Now, just because Conor McGregor didn't fight boxing yet, it doesn't mean he hasn't trained boxing his entire MMA career. Now, that's all I'm going to say on that, because you guys know I think Conor McGregor has a chance too. What the fuck you telling me, Matt? I'm Team MMA. I think Conor McGregor's actually going to fucking, I was going to say win, but he's going to knock Floyd out, but he's not going to win. It's going to be by head kick TKO. But all right, jokes aside, he also talked about John Jones. he also talked about John Jones's recent failed steroid drug test. He said he's not surprised. Him and his brother were famous for saying all of these motherfuckers are on steroids. One thing he was surprised about, he wasn't surprised he was on steroids. He was surprised he got caught. He said all these guys know how to pass the test. So for somebody to have already failed once, why would he fail it again? He already knows how to pass the test. They tried to get him, and low key, if you listen to this whole interview, he somewhat insinuates Conor McGregor may have been on steroids, but he said, I'm not going to point any specific names out whenever they said so. Are you saying like Conor McGregor could be on steroids? He said, I'm not going to point any names out, and I'm not going to throw salt on his name, but I'm just going to say everybody's on steroids. He said, don't be surprised if both of Floyd and Conor get popped steroids. And that's crazy because they've been getting tested by USADA, but according to Nate Diaz, people know how to pass the USADA test. And if that's the case, then some of these John Jones tinfoil commenters they're going to run with that. I told you, John Jones, they're framing him. He knows how to pass the test. How did he get caught? So you're still saying he's on steroids. So it is what it is, man. That's Nate Diaz's response. You heard. Go check out the full podcast if you want. If you need something to listen to, man, it was about an hour long. They talk about a lot of other betting stuff. They only talked to Nate Diaz for about a total of 30 minutes, but it was a good listen. So if you want to go listen to that, it is Cousin Sal. It's Against All Odds with Cousin Sal. Let's get it. I found this article on MMA Imports, and that's where I had the thing. So I don't, I'm just shouting them out. So it is what it is, man. Let the hitters know what the fuck you 10 minutes, dude.